Hey everyone, Zayskate here, and welcome to the penultimate part of the Toy Story 2 Let's Play. In this part we are going to be doing Tarmac Trouble. Well, I suppose more so I'm going to be doing it, because I was the one who was playing the game. Anyway, we have the cutscene from the film. As we see, this is the bit where we're rescuing Jessie. A strange thing though is this is a bit with after this bit of the film is after the Prospector is sort of defeated, but we actually get a scene later on that happens before that cutscene, and as we see, we've already sort of found Woody according to the film. He's nowhere to be seen here, which is odd in terms of, I suppose, continuity, but in terms of how the game works, well, of course we've just been buzzed the whole time. So I suppose maybe now we're no longer looking for Woody. I'm not sure. Anyway, so yeah, the Little Tykes return as I collect 5. Only this time it's Little Tykes suitcases, and they just make a bouncing sound. The strange thing though is when they're collected, because they're supposed to be sort of inanimate objects, I believe that might be the first time actually where something, a inanimate object, well I suppose it's more sentient, isn't it, is the collectible. When they're collected, they make the sound that a coin makes when it bounces after being dropped. This is the time challenge. It is a rather odd one. It's we have to run through this area, and we're not allowed to touch any of the slime, and we're not allowed to jump either, so we can't sort of cheat. Also the time is pretty tight. If you stop to turn to adjust the camera, it's going to be very tight. You might not even make it. What kind of makes this difficult as well is sort of the really small S-curves in the track, and also these lights sort of get in the way and you can't properly see the track sometimes. But it is alright, although it's kind of given, considering this is supposed to be like the last level. The difficulty should sort of matches, yeah. This is supposed to be the longest level in the game. I actually take less time to do this than I did with Airport Infiltration. As you can see, there's a lot of goo in places, even enemies that walk on goo, so if you want to get that coin you're probably going to have to take a hit. You're really going to have to think in the way that the developers have with the game, really, because you're going to have to search, in some cases, search for ways they've used things as platforms, or ways to climb across things. I'm trying to think of my words. So like, for example there, pretty sure when I was younger I didn't really think of that as a climbable pole. I just thought it was just there as part of the design. One thing that is useful in this level is they have the rocket boots, so if you just want to get around the place quickly you can, because it is a very big level. This is definitely the biggest level in terms of just space. It's not a very particularly tall level, but it is very large. One thing that they've added to help is they've put numbers on different parts of the area, sort of like I don't know what they would be, different stations or something. I think Rex but if you talk to Rex, he gives him like a name. So that's useful if you want to get around and you can't remember where something is, or if you talk to Rex and he says go to this place to find this thing. I'm not sure how difficult it is to get coins in this. I'm not sure if... I know there are quite a lot of enemies, so that can make things easier, but there don't seem to be too many coins. Certainly not many clusters. Yeah, I was just thinking about it. If Buzz is no longer saving Woody, then really, what is he doing here? What does a Space Ranger actually do? I suppose maybe they're going after Jesse, but that was more like a Woody thing, because he was just riding on Bullseye. I suppose one thing I should mention as well is the music in this level is amazing. It's my favourite music track in the game. Well, I think it is. There's quite a few I really like in this game. I'm pretty sure this is probably would be my favourite. So I remember it being my favourite when I was younger. One of the things I look forward to most actually when I was younger was going to this level, listening to music, and it really suits the environment very well. The rain effect is nice. The nighttime really works well, but it's not dark either. It's nighttime, but because we're like at an airport, everything's all lit up, and that's what really makes it suit the music, and just everything works pretty well in this level. So we're about to get our fourth Little Tyke suitcase. I'm getting quite a few memories now from not only just playing the game, but also just Disney in general. Because I think at this time I was watching quite a lot of Disney films when I was playing this quite a lot, but they weren't Pixar. They were just the normal Disney films. I would say my favourite like Disney classic films would be the Aladdin series. I'd say it's probably the one I've watched most, and probably are one of my favourites. I had all three on video. I know quite a few people have never even heard of the sequels. A lot of people gave Return of Jafar a lot of criticism, like a lot of fans, because they didn't realise it was direct to video. They didn't realise that. Well, they didn't like Dan Castellaneta's voice of Genie, but that was just because they couldn't get Robin Williams, and they certainly didn't like the animation quality. But that's more so because I think a lot of people were comparing it to the first Aladdin film that was re-released on DVD, where they'd remastered the animation quality and everything. It was in it like HD, a lot sharper, whereas the one on video, which I had, it was it wasn't as bad as Return of Jafar, but it wasn't as good as the DVD quality, and it wasn't as much to compare, I'd say. I'd say another one of my favourites would be Brother Bear, a film that not many people have seen. I don't think to be honest, a lot of people probably say it's kind of mediocre, but it's probably because they've seen a lot of Disney films. The plot is a bit predictable, but it's more of a sweet film than an exciting or like in-your-face film. I really like it. It just has this charm to it, and To be honest, I think that the score is really nice. It's very hard to get a hold of the score of Brother Bear. I've never seen Peter Pan in English. I had like as a gift, I had Peter Pan on video in Arabic. I don't even speak Arabic, I don't understand it. But I did watch it quite a few times and I had no idea what was going on. Certainly remember watching the trailers in Arabic of the Goofy movie that came on video. I also remember going into a supermarket for the first and seeing the English version of Peter Pan, and because it's a different direction of the way they read it, the box was mirrored and opened the other way, and because I was young, like my mind was kind of blown seeing that, because it just seemed so weird, seeing everything facing the other way. I've gone on quite a bit of a tangent. So I think we're about to approach the mini-boss. Like the Prospector can't be hit with the laser, only spun attack. It's a blacksmith. He sends out these sort of currents on the ground of, don't know, fire maybe, or they explode, and they actually follow Buzz. And really the only way to get away from them is to run away fast enough in advance. I think maybe turning might help, and also jumping towards the end should also help, but he's not that much of a threat. You can just take all the hits really and just kill him. I suppose one interesting thing I never really brought up is a very interesting thing with the Prospector is, well, in the first Toy Story, when all the toys were scaring Sid, and Woody said like, oh, we don't like being pulled apart, we don't like being destroyed and stuff. Now, when you look at Stinky Pete, he's like a more extreme version of that sort of idea, because like Woody and again, they want to be played with, but they don't want to be damaged. They just want to be played with and treated well, and have an owner who appreciates them. Whereas Stinky Pete wants to be preserved. He doesn't want to be damaged in any way, because partly because I don't think anyone ever bought him, so he sort of feels like he should be that way. Also, because his owner was Al, and Al was the kind of person who would do that. He would preserve something and keep it as a collector's item, as opposed to a toy. And I suppose since Stinky Pete sort of developed that kind of ideology, that's probably the reasons behind his actions in the films. So he is, I won't say, I don't think extremist is the right word, but I thought that'd be interesting to bring up for Stinky Pete. It's a nice way to look at his character, I suppose. So we've got almost all the Pete's Planet tokens. We're about to get the last one. I suppose one thing I never talked about either was how the Pete's Planet tokens was sort of a nice reference, a nice thing to add in, sort of referencing the first film, because there's no mention of Pete's Planet after the first film, except for the car that they borrow to pursue Al. So it's a nice reference there, I suppose, because Andy moved house, and that was a close jump. So they weren't anywhere near Pete's Planet anymore. Yeah, so I can't remember how this challenge works, so I went to the Rex thing. Now the buttons are pretty misleading, because it makes it look like it was just so they could fit the pictures on the buttons, but it makes it look like the one I'm stomping on now, it makes it look like it's going to light up the top yellow light and turn off the bottom one, when it actually means these only apply to the bottom lights. They don't change the top. When what you're supposed to do is match the bottom lights to the top ones, but it looks like on the buttons that it's going to change the top light and then change one from the bottom. It's only changing the bottom ones. So we're just about to get the last Peach Plant token. The lights lower the helicopter, so then we can get the token. Buzz bumped his head on the helicopter. We've been doing that quite a bit in this game, doing it on many ceilings. It's a good thing he's got his helmet on. So now that we have all 50 Pizza Planet tokens, we get a bonus movie as a reward. So it's nice that we've been given something. Now this is strange because it's almost as if they expect you to get this before the final boss, because it only really makes sense for it to be here after before the final boss, because after it it gives the scenes that happen after this part. There is a snake in my boot. So yeah, that's Time Travel. That's the last level for Pizza Planet tokens and stuff. We'll be doing the final boss next, which is the final showdown. See you in that next part, guys. Goodbye.